Hey everybody, and welcome to the weekly scopes from the 28th of April right up until the 4th of May. So I've changed the format of how I'm going to do things from now on. At the beginning of each week, I'm just going to talk about the main influences of the week, and then on the day-to-day, I'm just going to give an overview of what other aspects are happening on that day. So yeah, let's jump in. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Weekly Scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic constellational astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic constellation astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs, the Western signs, shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year. And Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates. So every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. So this week's main astrological influences are Mercury making a semi-sextile to Saturn. That came down on the 21st of April, going to affect us right up until the 2nd of May. Mercury's in Pisces, Saturn's in Aquarius right now. Then we've got Mars making a parallel to Neptune, which is the same as it making a conjunction to Neptune. And this is sort of like a special aspect that I'm doing a separate video on, but I'm still going to talk about it in the scope of this weekly scopes. And then also we've got Jupiter making a parallel to Uranus, which again I'm going to do a separate video on, because these are really rare things that happen between Mars and Neptune and Jupiter and Uranus, so obviously I'm going to go more in depth about them on separate videos, but for today's video I will just mention them as well. Saturn is making a semi-square to Pluto, so Saturn is in Aquarius, Pluto is in Capricorn, and this is going to affect us right up until the 19th of May, came in on the 24th, and these are zapped on the 6th of May. So yeah, when Mercury makes a semi-sextile to Saturn, positively, it allows us to concentrate, increases our ability to be more disciplined and take more of a structured approach in our mindset and in our action as well. It promotes practical thinking and problem solving, so it makes it an ideal time for organising, for planning, but negatively can make us overly pessimistic or overly critical as well. So there can be challenges in communication or misunderstandings with your own thought processes or other people's tone in conversations. You know, people can be more serious right now, you can be more serious, so it's important to be mindful of these obstacles. Remain open to constructive feedback, and that some people may be critical, you may be critical. Try not to criticize people, instead give them constructive feedback. In terms of best use, it's a good energy to do things that require attention to detail, careful analysis. It's a good energy to study, to research with, organise, as I said, oversee projects to help other people as well. So good for people who are team leaders, management and all of that sort of thing as well, because it encourages us to take responsibility for our actions and make thoughtful decisions. This is good for people who, want to take charge of their life, So psychologically, Mercury semi-sextile to Saturn can just make us just feel accomplished and satisfied, and it can just boost our self-love, discipline, determination, and help us stay focused on our goals. Karmically, it highlights the importance of being mindful of our words and actions. It reminds us that our thoughts and intentions have consequences, and that we should, strive to use our communication skills in a responsible and ethical manner. So just good for sort of like ethical social activism work, where we say our mind but also respect other people's ability to have different opinions from ours as well. In terms of the karmic sort of patterns that it may bring to light right now, it may bring to light how we express ourselves. The focus is on how we handle responsibilities. It's an opportunity to learn from past mistakes and make positive changes in our approach, especially when it comes to communication. Mars is parallel to Neptune, represents the energy of passion and action, and Neptune in astrology symbolises dreams, inspiration, spirituality. So when these two come together, and remember, the parallel is just the same as a conjunction, just means they're on the same sort of elliptic plane without going on too crazy about it. So this intensifies the combined energy of Mars and Neptune, so it's a powerful force that can be channeled into creative pursuits and spiritual plans. We can have, sort of like, it intensifies passion and sensitivity, increasing our intuition, spirituality, and our artistic abilities as well, and empathy towards ourselves and others as well. But negatively, it can make us fall into illusion, confused. People can become more manipulative, deceptive right now. We can lack boundaries. We may want to escape through drugs, alcohol, sex and chilling and all the other things that we do to put off doing what Mercury semi-sextile to Saturn is allowing us to do. So So, this is counteracting this energy, but ultimately it allows us to be driven by a deeper sense of purpose, and it gives us a desire to bring our dreams into reality and supports us doing that, encouraging us to tap into our inner reservoirs of strength and motivation, allowing us to overcome obstacles and pursue our goals with unwavering determination. But at the same time, it allows us to think outside of the box, explore new possibilities, and if we tap into this energy, we can have an increase in intuition and an increased ability to connect with our spiritual side. And it is a time to trust our instincts and follow our hearts in the pursuit of our dreams as well. However, just keep in mind, because the Mars parallel Neptune alignment can blur the lines between reality and illusion, it's crucial to stay grounded and discerning. We must be cautious of falling into deceptive or wishful thinking, and ensure that our actions are rooted in practicality and we use, sound judgment. And if we can't do that, take time out, don't rush to make decisions. You don't want to overspend and overdo things, harm yourself and, overly self-destruct. So in terms of Jupiter's parallel to Uranus and Saturn's semi-square to Pluto, Jupiter is known as the planet of growth and abundance, which is parallel to Uranus, the planet of innovation and breakthroughs, and this can signify an exciting time filled with unexpected opportunities. It encourages us to embrace change, explore new horizons, and it can inspire a sense of adventure and helps us to expand our knowledge, skills and beliefs. The positive energy of this transit can lead to breakthroughs in various areas of our lives, such as career, relationships and personal growth. On the other hand, Saturn semi-square to Pluto brings a different energy. Saturn represents structure and responsibility, while Pluto symbolises transformation and rebirth. So the semi-square between these two planets can create a tension that challenges us to confront deep-seated issues and make necessary changes in our lives. The negatives of this transit lie in the potential for upheaval and disruption. The unpredictable nature of Uranus can bring sudden changes or unexpected events that require us to adapt quickly. Similarly, the intensity of Pluto's influence can unearth buried emotions or expose power dynamics that we need to resolve as well. So these challenges can create a sense of discomfort, uncertainty, but they also offer opportunity for growth and personal evolution. Psychologically, these transits can bring to the surface subconscious patterns and beliefs that may be holding us back. So, ultimately they invite us to dig deep into the psyche, confront our fears and limitations, and release the things that no longer serve us. And this inner work can lead to profound healing and transformation. So from a karmic perspective, these transits want us to resolve issues from our past lives or issues that we've been putting off dealing with this lifetime, and this energy can present us with situations or relationships that mirror previous experiences, giving us an opportunity to learn from them or break free from repetitive patterns. This karmic healing can pave the way for greater spiritual growth and evolution. And in terms of relationships, these transits can bring both challenges and opportunities. Jupiter's parallel to Uranus encourages us to embrace new perspectives and approaches in our partnerships, embracing being, spontaneous, seeking freedom, being innovative, thinking outside of the box and being open to excitement without overspending and overdoing it, because we've got that Mars parallel to Neptune as well this week as well, really affecting us as well. On the other hand, Saturn semi-square to Pluto can test our strength and authenticity of our relationships. It can also bring struggles or revelations that compel us, push us to reevaluate our commitments or make necessary changes. This transit can also highlight any imbalances or unhealthy dynamics within partnerships, urging us to establish healthier boundaries and create greater equality within ourselves and all our different personality traits and in our relationships as well. So on the 28th of April, Venus also makes a semi-sextile to Neptune, and again, as I explained at the beginning of this week, Mercury is making a semi-sextile to Saturn, and that's exact today at 11:50 p.m. So if you want to do a special meditation or write things down that you want to do or release or whatever it is. So Venus's semi-sextile to Neptune brings kind of harmony to the week, especially between love, beauty and spirituality. It increases our creativity and sensitivity towards ourselves and others, and it makes it adds to the romance of the week, makes it a good time to have date nights, to be creative, and supports us with the spiritual growth I was talking about earlier. But we can idealise relationships and people and situations as well, and overlook any red flags, and this can lead to potential disillusionment, especially if our expectations are not met. So ultimately, Venus's semi-sextile to Neptune today offers us a chance for emotional connection and to be creative, supports us in that, but it can also double the risk with all the Neptune energy flying around this week of us escaping and getting lost in fantasies. But Mercury's semi-sextile to Saturn gives us a chance to be practical, be organised and grounded, but we have to just be careful with communication difficulties that can happen as well. But both transits can be used to make us stay grounded in reality if we're open to it. On the 29th of April, Mars makes a conjunction and parallel to Neptune. So there's that conjunction is 5:31, and then there's that parallel is at 8:05. All times are in GMT times, and both times are in the morning that I just mentioned. So Mars' conjunction parallel to Neptune can really inspire our compassion, intuition, as I said earlier, but it can make us deceptive as well. But it's a profound connection between our physical drive and our spiritual awareness. So it can bring about a harmless balance between taking action and tuning into our inner guidance, as I said in the intro when I talk about it. But we can fall into passive aggressive behaviour, feel overwhelmed as well if our emotions are not channeled mindfully. Right now, the best use of this energy is to stay grounded in reality and integrate the spiritual insights that can come during this period, and meditate, do yoga, and to make sure that conscious awareness and action are key to making the most of these influences as well. And as I said, I'm doing a whole separate order on these because this is really a big alignment, but I just wanted to add it here just in case you don't listen to that, so at least you get something. But on the special, I'm going to go in all angles as I always do in my specials. But what I've learned, and this is why I do my videos in this way, it's best to take a holistic approach. So yeah, on the 30th of April, we've got Moon entering void of course at 5:39. The Moon also enters Capricorn as well, and Venus also makes a semi-square to Saturn. So when Moon's in Capricorn, it brings us stability, it allows and supports the disciplined approach that we need this week to overcome all the Neptune influences and the Mars influences that can just push us to do things and disrespect our own and other people's boundaries as well. So it's a great energy, the Moon in Capricorn, that we can use to be intentional right now, be determined and be ambitious as well. But negatively, we can be reserved or guarded in expressing our emotions, receiving other people's emotions, nor expression as well, and we can just feel isolated and detached from ourselves and others as well, because we can just feel serious right now. So it's just best, to be gentle with yourself, be open to love and all of that. But Venus's semi-square to Saturn helps with this a bit, but we are dealing with the semi-square. So yeah, on the positive side, Venus's semi-square to Saturn encourages us to evaluate our relationships and commitments with a critical eye. It prompts us to examine whether they are built on a solid foundation of trust, respect and shared values. It also highlights the importance of patience and perseverance in building lasting connections, but negatively, it can make us feel dissatisfied and frustrated in our relationships. It may also reveal areas where we need to address issues of control or having excessive defensive boundaries as well, you know, where we may just, I don't know, have too many boundaries. I don't think we can ever have too many boundaries, but we can enforce them in defensive manner. Like, we can say things, oh, I'll never love again because I had a bad relationship, and no one likes heartbreak. I mean, it's been, you know, well, no, I'm glad I've had heartbreak, but when you're going through it, you don't want to hear the nonsense like, oh, someone better will come and all of that. You really don't, do you? You're just like, oh, shut the heck up, you know, let me dwindle in my heartbreak. But yeah, ultimately, you know, it wants us, this energy supports us to embrace structure and organisation in our daily routines, especially in how we process our sort of like emotions as well. It's a good energy to set intentions with, as I said, and Venus's semi-square to Saturn as well is best used to self-reflect, to assess the health of our relationships and our own personal, spiritual, physical, emotional and psychological health as well, and just focus on any other area in your life that need improvement, and, you know, just looking at how you can improve your boundaries or set your boundaries as well, or you know, reinforce them if somebody is overstepping them, or if you're overstepping your boundary, which we all do. We all want a better life for ourselves, but we often overstep our own boundaries by doing too much things that distract us from our long-term goals. So yeah, so this is an opportunity today to gain clarity on what truly matters to you in your partnerships and make any necessary adjustments for greater alignment with yourself and your purposes and with your partner if you are in a relationship. So we're moving on to the 1st of May. So as we go into the 1st of May, the Sun is in Aries, the Moon is in Capricorn, Mercury is in Pisces, Venus is in Aries, Mars is in Pisces, Jupiter is in Aries, Saturn is in Aquarius, Uranus is in Aries, Neptune is in Pisces, Pluto is in Capricorn, Chiron is in Pisces, and the Moon's North node is retrograde in Pisces as well, which it always is sort of like retrograde, so yeah. But none of the other planets are in retrograde right now. So anyway, also on the 1st of May, Venus makes a square to Pluto, Jupiter enters Taurus, the Moon enters the last quarter moon phase, and the Moon's North node goes stationary direct as well. Oh yeah, Jupiter also makes its exact parallel today to Uranus at 11:50 p.m, but I talked about what all that means at the beginning of the week, and I have done a separate audio on it as well, so you can check that out. So anyway, Venus's square to Pluto can bring intense emotional transformations in relationships, in our financial matters. It can deepen our connections with ourselves and others through more honesty and vulnerability, and this can lead to profound growth. However, it can also bring up old power struggles or reveal new ones, and people can be more manipulative at this time as well. And these manipulative behaviours that happen right now, your own manipulative behaviours can be brought to your attention, whether you're aware of it or not. And you know, so this can be a time when, you know, I don't want to say poo will fly, but poo can fly. So yeah, and people can be like, you know, I hate the way you do this, and Venus is our love and our romance, so in our hookups or committed relationships, arguments can come up as well, and it can be scary, you know, if you are having a disagreement, but it also can bring passionate lovemaking as well after you make up and resolve the issues. So, you know, every cloud has a silver lining and all of that. Also, Jupiter enters Taurus, and of course I've done a special on this again, but basically, you know, Jupiter is the planet of expansion and abundance, and it moves into Taurus. So when it does this, there is a focus on material abundance, stability and growth. It encourages us to expand our resources, seek financial opportunities, and cultivate a sense of security in our relationships and within ourselves as well. And it can sort of like bring more comfort into our lives as well. It can also just make us feel amplified in our sense of prosperity, abundance, and it can also just bring blessings into the financial areas of our life, and also the areas in our life that deal with pleasure and values as well. But as I said, I've gone into it in a lot more detail and separate, so just check the playlist wherever you're listening to this and it should be there. Also, the moon enters its last quarter or moon phase, so this is a time of reflection, releasing what no longer serves us, and to prepare for new beginnings. It prompts us to review our goals, assess our progress, and make the necessary adjustments before the upcoming new moon. It's a period for letting go of old patterns or obstacles to clear the path for fresh energies and manifestations as well. So did you set intentions during the lunar eclipse we had and the total solar eclipse we had? If you haven't checked out those videos, because these eclipses energy lasts us up to when the new solar lunar eclipse happens in October, the end of September I think. So it's beneficial to listen to these videos, and you may get something from it as well. Also, the moon's north node goes direct out of retrograde. So I correct myself again because we all make mistakes. The moon's north node goes retrograde a couple times a month, I think it is. It doesn't just always be in retrograde, as I may have said earlier. So yeah, so when the moon's north node goes direct, it's a shift for us to align with our soul's purpose and destiny. It pushes us to move forward in our alignment into our true path, embracing growth and stepping into our authentic self-expression. Karmic shifts can happen. There can also be fated encounters that happen right now, or experiences that are trying to push us into, moving into our highest potential and follow our higher sort of like calling. On the 2nd of May, the moon enters Aquarius and Pluto enters retrograde as well. So the moon in Aquarius is known for its forward thinking, innovative energy. This can sort of like influence our emotions, wanting us to be more individual. We may seek out more freedom, and also good energy to be charitable, humanitarian, sort of social activist, ethical social activist sort of like activities as well. It encourages us to embrace our uniqueness and seek unconventional solutions to our problems. We may feel more inclined to connect with like-minded individuals who share our vision for a better future, but negatively can make us a bit detached, not wanting to work in groups, not wanting to cooperate with others as well. Pluto going retrograde means Pluto's energy is turning inward, so we may be more self-reflective. It confronts us to confront our deepest fears and desires and how we deal with power. Do we resist becoming self-empowered? Do we give our power away? Why do we do this? Often when we do this, it's because of some childhood trauma, some other trauma in our life where we felt powerless and we haven't dealt with that trauma. If we dominate and control others, it can just be a personality trait, but it's still not good to do so because we're all going to follow our path. But looking into the reasons why we do control, often that results from trauma as well, when we felt times in our life when we didn't have control, maybe as a child. So as an adult now you try and control everything, and this can even be through people pleasing, because some people think people pleasing isn't a form of control, but it is. It could be even more of a form of control because it's more subtle than people who are really dominant and egotistical. So just looking in the ways that you use or don't use your power is a good use of this energy over the next 3 to 5 months. Pluto's in retrograde. If you want to know the exact time it is in retrograde, I've done a whole separate audio on it, so check that out as well. So as Pluto slows down to change direction, we may find ourselves drawn to examine our shadow selves and dig into the depths of our psyche. It can bring about changes in how we perceive power and take control in our lives, and this can lead to a cathartic release of pent-up emotions and experiences. Combined, these energies can result in revolutionary emotional breakthroughs and transformations, especially if we do that inner work. The moon in Aquarius adds an element of detachment, as I said, and objectivity in our feelings, what can be good and bad things, allowing us to approach deep-seated issues with a fresh and more impersonal, detached perspective. So we can look at our shadow and be like, oh, I love you, Shadow, rather than be all critical at it at this time, you know. So just looking at the ways we have self-destructive thoughts, behaviours, toxic relationships, toxic thought patterns, toxic ways of relating to ourselves, and just looking how we can improve our negative behaviours as well. Pluto's energy intensifies the process of, you know, this detachment by allowing us to dig into our subconscious mind and unearth sort of like buried emotions or traumas, as I said, that need healing. So it's a good energy, although it can bring about intense emotional upheaval. It's a good energy for personal growth and self-discovery as well. So the best use of this energy, as I said, is journaling, meditation, therapy, shadow work, embracing change and being open to unconventional or the taboo aspects of our psyche, and this can lead to transformative breakthroughs during this period. It's essential to approach these energies with self-awareness, and by doing so we can sort of like have more compassion for ourselves and a willingness to confront the darker corners of our being, of our mind, of our psyche, of other people's, of our relationships, which we can often be resistant to doing, but by doing so we can navigate this intense time with more grace and emerge stronger, more empowered as we align with our true selves. And remember, the journey, the inward journey, may not always be easy, but the rewards of self-love, discovery, acceptance, forgiveness, understanding and growth are invaluable in shaping our lives for the better. So just trust in the process and embrace the opportunity for profound change. And just remember, I do day-to-day scopes as well, and I do these because sometimes we need to hear the messages over and over again. So if you want to listen to the day-to-day where I go into this, you know, a bit more, especially on the best things to do, especially if you're content creating stuff, I offer tips. So if you want to listen to this, the link for it should be in the comment, in the notes, the show notes, wherever you're listening to this, whether it's in Spotify, YouTube or wherever else you're getting this. So yeah. On the 3rd of May, Mars is making a set star to Pluto, so again it can make us more assertive. Right now it allows us to have an increased drive, supporting the theme of the week of the Saturn and Mercury semi-set star, helping us to be more determined, go after our goals with more passion and focus, as I said, allowing us to, giving us that boost in, you know, personal power and resilience as well, so it helps us to overcome obstacles more easily. So Mars' set star to Pluto supports us initiating, starting change, taking bold actions towards our desires, and making significant progress in the areas where we seek empowerment, but negatively can add to the power struggles of the week, especially if we misuse this energy and not channel it constructively, because you know Pluto energy not used always can bring out our jealous side, our envious side, and just the misuse of our financial resources as well. It can also make us controlling, manipulative and obsessive. So it's just essential to be mindful how you use your power and influence, and avoid getting caught up in unnecessary battles or confrontations, because sometimes we can just waste time doing so anyway. So the best use of this energy is to just do things that align with your long-term goals and values, to dig deep into your motivations. What motivates you? Why do you have those first thoughts? Why do you do those behaviours? You know, why do you keep repeating the same themes and relationships in your life? You know, by having the courage and determination to look into yourself, this energy can support all efforts of, you know, self-development, and it allows us to be more strategic in our planning as well. So it's ideal for work that, you know, demand intense focus, and for, you know, looking at the power dynamics in our relationships or situations as well. And by staying aware of our actions and intentions, we can maximize the positives of this energy as well. So yeah, on the 4th of May, the moon enters void of course, the sun makes a semi-square to Neptune, and the moon enters Pisces, and the moon also enters its balsamic moon phase as well. So the sun semi-square to Neptune brings a exciting blend of creativity and confusion, which is adding to, it's a very Neptune week, and it's going to be a very Neptune sort of like next couple of months as well. So anyway, it allows us and it supports us us in being more intuitive, empathetic, supports us in our spiritual practices and creative activities and expression as well, but can add to misunderstandings and us feeling emotionally drained. The moon going into Pisces as well amplifies this sensitivity, but it does encourages us to, connect with our compassionate and empathetic side as well. And the balsamic moon marks the end of the lunar cycle, and it symbolises a time for completion and release. It encourages us to let go of what no longer serves us as we make room for the new beginnings that are going to be coming in the new moon. So again, this supports meditation and setting intentions for the future. The combination of these planets allows us to increase in our spiritual awareness and to just be open to emotional healing. But we have to remember to be sort of like grounded as we, float on the dreamy influences of Neptune and Pisces, finding the balance between imagination and reality. So all in all, this week supports us in digging into our creativity, exploring our inner emotions and releasing stagnant energy. By acknowledging the positives and negatives of all of this week's transits, we can make the best of their unique energies to increase our personal growth and the spiritual connection in our life. So yeah, that's the end of the weekly scopes from the 28th of April to the 4th of May.